So can you give me a real life example of you had 32 different categories? You actually ran this whole piece, and give me a real life problem where you started getting the common agenda, and then you realize that some of your campaigns or marketing initiatives, let me not use the word campaigns because the marketing initiative is larger than the campaign,
True.
right? So therefore you realize that some of the initiatives are not giving the returns that the business head was looking at. Therefore you had to really rethink this whole piece. So can you actually tell me how an agile marketer needs to think? And I just want you to really drop a real story for somebody listening, saying, hey, this is the way I need to really adapt myself.
True. So, very interesting category, which is and also very tough in terms of a competition standpoint. And we were number two, and number three. We're just slipping between market share between number two, number three, depending, because you have five players, extremely competitive, extremely price sensitive, and very well distributed in the entire particular geographies that you look for. So there was a certain way it was actually working. When I joined, I interacted, and when I interacted with the entire business heads, and it was. I don't think what you're actually doing is actually makes sense if you really want to become or you be in number one or number two positions to be. And he was very upset with this particular comment. He was, I have been running this for 4 years, and I have made it from number five to number three, and you coming just in 6 months and trying to. Well, it's not about 6 months. Let's see the data that you're trying to see. What we are actually trying to promote is not what I'm selling. So I am promoting something which is only 22% of the category, where my 50%, 49% precisely is category which I'm not promoting, it's selling on its own. So tomorrow, sometime at the else, we'll have a huge problem. Let's anticipate today. If we don't do it, it will not work in that tangent. After a lot of discussion, debate, a lot of meetings and all, so no, let's do one thing. Let's see all the data. Let's see all the and let's start seeing two things. What does we actually stand from a consumer standpoint, from a retailer standpoint, and a distributor standpoint, and what does we think? So it'll inside out and outside in perspective that we can get it across. And to our particular surprise, whatever the category building that we have done for good 4 5 years in terms of building, neither the consumer, neither the retailer said, "Boss, you are a mass brand. You are not. You are selling premium. You are positioning premium. You are putting marketing efforts and campaigns and an entire program on premium. But you are a mass brand. So don't try to actually promote, because that's not helping. It is not a rub-off effect that you're actually trying to. But people don't resonate with that clause. So we put all our effort into let's change this proposition. Let's bring a meaning what consumer actually looking for, what our trade partners are looking for in the entire sense, and we changed the entire strategy. We came out with it. We presented to a lot of leadership also in terms of board members to look how does it actually work. Fortunately, unfortunately, after 2 weeks, uh, the people actually on the floor, when the sales guys, people on the distributors, say, sir, it is not going the way we actually thought of, because this is something is not something which people expect from brand like you, because it has always been premium, but what you are actually trying to do is not something which people are actually able to resonate. And we just have a window of 12 weeks, because that's the season time that we need to. We immediately change our proposition, let it run on a larger campaign, what we run in a larger program, but entire particular point of sale, BTL, any particular conversation, change the narrative to something which people would actually recognize to. It was very tough because it was not decided to look for. What has happened is we were able to maintain our number two position after a lot of turmoils to build in. Our market share was absolutely intact. It didn't increase, but it didn't decrease also. Uh, Third thing that has also happened is that people started seeing a new stride. Very few, but obviously my numbers would have increased, let's say 25 or 23% precisely to that. But the larger impact that has happened, which also gives a lot of stream to think, there are two clear business streams that emerge from that particular, whether we call it an experiment, whether we call it a strength that we want to bring on the inside. That one, that we really need to don't leave the premium positioning. We need to build that premium positioning, but we need to also strengthen our mass positioning, because that is what our maximum business actually look for it. So once after 6 months or 5 months, when we started thinking about the next particular year. Uh, Plans in terms of what should be my business plans in terms of going next year. What I decided was, now we need to increase the business. If I really want to become the number one, these two streams which has accidentally or by particular experiment that we actually got it, we will actually try and see how we can actually build those particular two streams, and that will be very helpful. Till date, we are being able to having a very fantastic market share in those particular categories. And the best divide is people, and it's very easy. When one of the retailers gave a fantastic example, sir, you have actually solved the problem for us. I don't have to unnecessarily oversell a premium thing for a particular customer. Say, sir, this is the premium range, it costs X. This is the mass range, it costs X minus 10. You decide, come from the both from the same brand, it's up to you. And that is how is from a agile marketer, because in a seasonal product, the only thing is you can't have a choice to do a mistake and then you just have to correct that particular mistake and move. But I think because of the support of the team and the business, it was very lucky and helpful to actually do that, and that to also do in a meaningful way to move from there.
So therefore, you actually not you did not change just the marketing campaign, but you are saying you did a major rejig on the product
Correct.
mix,
Yes.
and therefore you worked as a marketing, as a marketing head with the business to actually go back and say, let's build a premium brand, let's build a mass brand, and let's ensure that we run. So therefore, you have to rejig your product mix itself, is what you are saying, and it was nothing to do with the campaign. You had to get involved in the product mix itself, is what you are saying.
Product list is also in terms of how do you really need to place that particular product, because what happens is when, and specifically in a season time, when you reach to a retailer and distributor gets confused with, sir, yesterday 5 days back you gave me this product, this is the listing, now you're saying no, this is what you changed, because he doesn't have time during in the entire particular time of season. He doesn't have that time because that's the time he wants to maximize. So we change end to end everything, and what that is, that's the beauty of a market, because marketing is basically it's a knowledge hub and center for everything, because the power of data actually gives you that particular power of marketing and power of conversation that you actually do. And when it comes to data, it is not about what is a salesperson saying and what's a perception and what's a, and that's what I always use it, that two things that from a data that we need to flesh out, which is very clear: what is my insight and what is my observation. Don't try to match to insight plus observation will never be an outcome or decision that needs to look for. There has to be two different ways that needs to look from entire way that you actually work.